fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Mouse Jaw from the brand new Turtles of Grayskull line from Mattel. So this is a collaboration between Mattel and Playmates Toys where they are mashing up Masters of the Universe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I know I don't typically review a lot of He-Man and Turtle stuff on this channel, but I just think the concept for this is so cool, and I found this at my local Target, and I definitely had to take a look at it. So really excited to check out this line. Now, I think I saw, it was Toy Bro on Twitter who said that Mouse Trap would be such a cooler name, and since it's Trap Jaw, they could have gone with either Trap or Jaw, and they went with Mouse Jaw. And I have to agree with Toy Bro, Mouse Trap would have been a much cooler name, but he is evil and armed with Mauser. So this is basically Trap Jaw from the MOTU line, augmented with Baxter Stockman's Mouser technology. And so you have kind of a separate Mouser down here that you can kind of take apart and integrate into Trapjaw. It's just a really cool idea. And then they have this Build-A-Figure Metal Bato, which I assume is kind of a collaboration of Metalhead and Roboto. That's kind of cool. I love that. I'm assuming the Build-A-Figure, because this is one of 4, is going to be exclusive to these larger boxed figures, because there's also an assortment that's just kind of bubble on card like we're used to, and I don't think any of those come with the Build-A-Figure pieces, so I think they're going to be only with these larger box figures. But I love the artwork here. You know, you have the kind of Turtles of Grayskull and the kind of MOTU logo style, but then you have the like purple brick and the like ooze that we're kind of used to with TMNT packaging. You have the two little bits of artwork up here for the character, which is also kind of reminiscent of the old TMNT packaging. So I'm loving this. I mean, this is two of my favorite things crossed over together, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Over here, you have some more artwork of Mouse Jaw. Again, over here, not really anything going on the bottom. Up top, you just have a little bit more of the clear window. And then spinning it around to the back, we have some really cool artwork. So you can see here is Leonardo from this line, and then I guess this is Teela with some kind of new like samurai turtle shell armor, which I think is really cool. Of course, you have Castle Grayskull here, so I think this is really neat. And it's not really, the cool thing about this line is that they're not taking like TMNT characters and like mashing them up directly with MOTU characters. They're kind of bringing those characters into this world. So you can see it's, you know, if Leonardo from TMNT was in Eternia, he might wear battle armor similar to this. And I think that's such a cool idea. And obviously, with like Mouse Jaw here, we're getting some kind of mashup, but it kind of makes sense given Trapjaw usually has, you know, all these different tools. And so he's kind of been upgraded with the Mouser technology. It's just a really neat idea. I'm really excited about it. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. And then down here, we can kind of see a little bit more of the Metal Bato. So these are the pieces that we're getting here. And then this is going to be the fully completed Metal Bato Build-A-Figure. Although I think it's kind of funny because these pieces, I believe, go with Trapjaw, but they're including them here. So I don't know if we can use them with Mouse Jaw or if they're exclusively supposed to be with Metal Bato. I guess we'll take a look at that. But it shows here how you can kind of disconnect the Mouser and then connect it as one of his weapons, which I think is kind of cool. So I'm really excited for this. I'm going to go ahead, get them out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. All right, so before we dive into the figures, I'm going to sit them back a little bit so we can go through some of these other pack-ins. You have this little cardboard piece, kind of a nice thick piece of cardboard. When I first saw it in the packaging, I thought it was a mini comic, and I got excited. But this is still pretty cool. You have some nice artwork here on the front, and then on the back, it kind of just like lists through their powers and assets and things like that. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of just like a large trading card. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. It's just oversized and nice thick cardboard stock. So that's kind of cool. The other thing you get is the little pamphlet here showing you that these are, of course, built on the Origins kind of framework. So you can pop all the arms and heads and feet and pop them apart at the waist. So if you want to mix and match or anything like that, you certainly can, which I think is kind of cool. So they are definitely kind of using that Origins base mold for these. And so they do include this little pamphlet. The other thing is, earlier I did think that these accessories were for Trapjaw. These are Robato's accessories. I was misremembering because Trapjaw does come with similar accessories that usually you peg into his hand. He has like a longer gun that's not nearly as wide as this one. And then he does also have a clamp, but it's usually black and it's like a little thinner and rubberier. And he definitely doesn't have an axe. So these are Robato's accessories, which is why they are included toward that Build-A-Figure. But the cool thing is you actually can pop them in And they are completely compatible with Mouse Jaw here. So if you wanted to use these here, you can. They kind of work, which is kind of neat. So they are definitely not meant for him. They are for the Build-A-Figure, but they work and they are compatible, which is kind of cool. The other pieces you get for Metal Bato, I'm going to have to really work on these names. One of his arms here, so you have this hinge, you have the hinge and the rotation here in the elbow, and then you have a hinge and rotation in the wrist. Definitely has the 3 fingers for a turtle hand, which is kind of cool. And then I guess these are just supposed to like peg into these various spots around the arm, and I'm guessing the rest of the body will have similar spots. So that's kind of interesting. Let me see, can I pop this hand out? Usually you can. Okay, but that's definitely, I'm assuming that's what this is for. Does this pop in here? Okay, so that's a connector, and then you can go ahead and utilize these. So that's cool. Okay, because I was kind of wondering what this piece was for, and it's definitely like a connector piece. So it kind of changes from the smaller connection to the larger connection. That way you can go ahead and use these as extra hands. That's actually really cool. I think that's really neat. Pretty simple to pop in and out of there. Pop that back in. So a lot of stuff going on with this. Very cool. Very excited to get more pieces toward him. And I do kind of think it's neat that they, in the meantime, if you want to use them with Mouse Jaw here, you can. So that's kind of cool. We also get this massive effect piece, which you can go ahead and pop in. So it looks like, you know, he's blasting that cannon. And that works well. I think it looks great. It's this nice kind of translucent yellow. Pops in and out of the hand pretty easily. So I like that. Very cool. Getting into Mouse Jaw himself, I like it. I think it's cool. It's definitely a great mashup. I think it makes sense. I mean, a character who's known for kind of, you know, his clamping jaw, and then obviously Mouser's known for the same thing, so hook these two guys up. Makes total sense. The head, I believe, is on like a barbell ball joint, so you have it at the base of the neck and the base of the skull, and that makes it so you can kind of move the head around pretty well, look pretty far down, look up side to side, no problem. You can even tilt side to side. Nice range of motion there. Of course, the mouth can open and close, which is nice. I like that a lot. You have a hinge and a rotation in the shoulder. Now, both of these kind of, like, you can't really rotate them completely around. They're kind of at like a 45-degree angle, so they start to kind of rotate in as you move them, and I believe Origins was the same way, again, since they're kind of built off that same framework, but it works. It's fine. You also have a hinge and a rotation here at the elbow. Hinge and a rotation at the wrist. Now over here, you do have the same kind of elbow, but he has no wrist, obviously. He's got the cannon. You have a waist swivel. You have this belt, which I think it's very cool. They remolded it with a turtle shell and the 2 crossbones instead of like the skull and crossbones it had. But it's got these connection ports over here, but there's no accessories. Like I mentioned earlier, Trapjaw usually comes with extra pieces to plug in here, but I'm guessing because you got the Mouser accessory, they didn't include those. So now you just kind of have these connection ports here to store weapons that don't exist. Now, if you want, you could go ahead and take the belt off. Honestly, the harness comes off as well. You can see that they're just connected like that. So if you wanted to remove those, you absolutely could. You have kind of a limited ball joint here in the hips. Can't really go that far out to the side, maybe 45 degrees, and kick fairly forward, but not a ton. You do have a swivel and a hinge here in the knee. Then you have another swivel here, kind of in the mid-shin area. And then the feet have hinges and, you know, kind of tilts. But because of how much this kind of piece hangs over, which I do like the design, but it kind of hinders the ankle tilt, which is kind of a bummer. And you can't really get much out of the hinge either. So while the joints appear to be there, can't utilize them that much, which is kind of a bummer. But I do really like the overall design of the figure. I think he's cool, and like I said, I'm super excited that they're mashing up these two properties. So I think it's kind of neat. Now we have the Mouser. He looks pretty good. You can see head can swivel side to side. Of course, the mouth can open and close. really nice and wide, and he's got this kind of cannon inside. Now, the effect piece looks like it can pop in here, but it's kind of snug. And the couple times I've done it, I feel like I've almost heard a cracking sound, but I look at it and it still looks okay. So tread lightly with this if you want to try to use the effect piece in the mouser's mouth. It kind of works, but just be careful with it. It's definitely more snug than using it in the arm over here on Mouse Jaw. So tread lightly on that. But otherwise, it can move nicely around. I do kind of wish there was a hinge here for the gun as well, because as you bring the head down, it has to stop there, which isn't a problem. You know, I like the look of that, but I do kind of wish like it could bend down further, but it kind of naturally stops there. And then of course the mouth can open and close. You can rotate the feet here. You also have a nice hinge joint down here at the ankle. So you can kind of, if you wanted to kind of, you know, have one foot really far back and have one really far forward, you could do that. It doesn't balance all that well when you do that, but I guess that's a way to kind of, you can kind of tilt the body down if you want him to kind of be, you know, munching on something on the ground as opposed to his usual posture. But like I said, it makes him very front heavy, and so he just kind of falls over. So you kind of have to play with that a little bit and just find the balance. But of course, these legs are completely removable, so we can just slide those out. And this is kind of cool. You could kind of simulate battle damage, you know, if somebody comes by and cuts a leg off, if you're having them, you know, fight these guys. But also they want you to take this and peg this here onto Mouse Jaw's cannon. And now he's got this, you know, long mouser arm capture claw kind of thing. Again, it's another reason I wish I could angle the mouser head further down this way, because, you know, otherwise I kind of have to have the arm down here. I don't know. It's a nice concept, and I like it. I just kind of wish it had a little bit more flexibility so I could kind of keep this at a more natural position instead of him always having to look straight up. But again, it's still cool. I just wish I had a little bit more articulation there. But otherwise, that's kind of neat. I like that. He can kind of integrate the mouser into the arm there, which is cool. But even just the mouser itself, I think, is cool. I wish there was a way to get a couple more of these. It would be nice if they maybe packed them in with some other characters or sold a pack of just a couple of these. Because, you know, obviously I want to army build these, but I don't want to end up with 4 or 5 mouse jaws here. But either way, I think it's a really cool set. I like the accessories. I like the overall design. Obviously, I'm super excited that they're mashing up these two properties, and I think it's a ton of fun. Only complaints, really, wish the mouser head could articulate further down. I get why it can't, because the gray piece here with the gun is one solid piece. But if they could have put a hinge in there so that that could hinge along with the head down, I think he'd be pretty much perfect. Otherwise, I really, really like the mouser. I think that's cool. I like the design of Mouse Jaw. I do kind of wish his name was Mouse Trap. I think that works a little better. But I love the design, the paint applications, the articulation is good. The ankle articulation is a little weird just because of how they molded these like shin gauntlet pieces. It's not a huge problem. I love that they molded the turtle shell there. I think that's so fun. Just overall, I really like the design of him. I do kind of wish he also had his other accessories. Now, they are pretty similar to these Roboto accessories, and it is nice that you can actually still utilize those if you want, even though they don't really go to this figure. That's kind of a nice feature. And I love the giant effect piece. That really works, so I'm really happy about that. So yeah, overall, I think this guy is pretty fun. Now, the one thing I will say, this was $25 at my local Target, and I know the price of Origins has been going up, which is kind of a bummer. I think they started out at $15 for the basic figures, and I know this is kind of a more deluxe figure, so I would expect it to be $20, like Battle Damage He-Man, Battle Damage Skeletor, those larger packs that come with more accessories. So I fully expected it to be at least $20, but it seems the base price has kind of gone up to $25. It's not hugely egregious. I'm not upset about it. It's just kind of bummed that just in general Origin prices have been going up. But I mean, everyone's prices have been going up, I guess, so I can't really fault Mattel. I mean, Hasbro's prices have been going up. It's kind of across the board, just kind of a general bummer. But in any case, I definitely think this guy's still worth it. I'm really excited for this line. If you're a MOTU fan, if you're a TMNT fan, especially if you're both, I think these are definitely worth checking out. I do have the first wave coming to me very soon from BBTS that has Leonardo, Donatello, Man-at-Arms, and a mutated He-Man, which I'm very excited to take a look at. And they've already kind of teased Wave 2, or I think pre-orders may have even gone up. I know that has Raphael in it. I think Ram Man's also in there. And I'm blanking on the rest of that wave, but it looks fun. It looks like a really fun line. I'm really excited for some vehicles and play sets. Some kind of MOTU version of the Turtle Van, I think, could be a lot of fun. Or, you know, I'd like to see Battle Cat with some kind of Turtle Samurai armor. I think that could be a lot of fun. And I'll be very interested to see what they do with Castle Grayskull, if they do some kind of special version of that, or even some kind of Eternia version of the sewer playset for the Ninja Turtles would also be amazing. So while the figures are a lot of fun, I'm really excited to see if we get any playsets and vehicles out of this line, but only time will tell. In the meantime, definitely recommend checking this out. I have no idea if Target is going to sell the other figures because they had one tag for this figure and that was it. I did not see a tag for the more basic assortment. So I don't know. It's kind of weird that they decided to only, maybe this guy's a Target exclusive and that's the only reason they're picking him up or they're carrying him. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but it's not too difficult to track down the basic figures on like the usual fan channel sites. So like I said, I got mine from BBTS. I think Entertainment Earth had them. I don't know if Mattel will be selling them on their website or even Playmates. I'm not sure. I think Mattel's the one that's actually making them. So I don't, actually, you know what I think about it? I don't know if Playmates is really involved at all. It might just be Mattel working directly with Nickelodeon since they own Ninja Turtles now. But I'm assuming Playmates would have to sign off because, you know, you're operating in that same kind of figure space because the figures that Playmates makes are 5-inch, I think, and these are 5.5. So, I don't know. I don't know how licensing works. In any case, these are cool. Check them out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.